Your Scrum projects are failing because you're breaking 6 core rules in the Scrum Guide. These aren't just bad habits or minor oversights. They are project killers that most teams practice every single day without realizing the damage they're causing. Here's what happens when you violate these rules. You'll lose transparency, kill predictability, and drain budget and morale. The Scrum Guide makes this clear when it states that Scrum exists only in its entirety. When you omit or change key elements, you're not doing Scrum anymore. You're creating a broken system that looks like it should work but guarantees failure instead. The worst part? These violations don't announce themselves. They hide behind what looks like normal team behavior, making them incredibly dangerous to your project's success. Let me identify the 6 specific violations that are sabotaging your projects right now. These 6 mistakes create a domino effect that starts small but grows into project disasters. Think of it like a crack in your foundation. At first, you barely notice it. Then, one day, the whole structure comes crashing down. Each forbidden practice makes the others worse, creating a cycle that destroys team morale and drains budgets. Here's what makes these mistakes so dangerous. Ignoring your definition of done, extending sprint lengths, abandoning sprint goals, hiding transparency, lacking cross-functionality, and failing to deliver working increments. The first mistake kills more projects than any other. Ignoring your definition of done. The Scrum Guide ties the definition of done directly to the increment commitment. Without the guide's definition of done, your team never shares a clear finished bar, so everything slips into technical debt. You end up with half-completed features that look done but cannot be released. Your QA team finds bugs that should have been caught earlier. Your stakeholders receive demos of features that aren't ready for real users. This creates a false sense of progress while building technical debt that will slow down every future sprint. When your definition of done is unclear, your team naturally makes the second mistake, extending sprints. It seems logical. The work is almost done, so why not take a few extra days to finish it properly? Here's the problem. The Scrum Guide enforces fixed sprint lengths for predictability and risk control. Extending sprints destroys this predictability and makes planning impossible. Your stakeholders can't trust your commitments. Your product owner can't make reliable roadmap promises. Your team loses the rhythm that makes Scrum work. The third mistake happens when teams ignore their sprint goal and work on separate tasks. Instead of focusing on one clear objective, your team creates chaos instead of focused progress. Your daily stand-ups become status reports about unrelated work. Your sprint reviews have no coherent story to tell stakeholders. You deliver scattered pieces instead of valuable increments that move your product forward. This leads directly to the fourth mistake, lack of transparency. When everyone works on different things, nobody really knows what's happening. Your sprint burn-down chart becomes meaningless because tasks aren't connected to the sprint goal. Your team members can't help each other because they don't understand how their work fits together. Your product owner makes decisions based on incomplete information because the real status of the sprint is hidden in individual task updates. Bad decisions multiply when they're based on partial truths. The fifth mistake creates bottlenecks that stop entire sprints, teams without cross-functionality. The Scrum Guide explains that Scrum teams must be cross-functional and self-managing. Single-point dependencies violate this core requirement. When only one person can do database work, only one person can handle the API, and only one person knows the deployment process, your team becomes a series of single points of failure. One person gets sick, goes on vacation, or gets pulled into another project, and your entire sprint grinds to a halt. The sixth mistake destroys stakeholder trust, not delivering working increments. At the end of each sprint, your stakeholders should see actual progress they can touch, test, and provide feedback on. When you deliver documentation, plans, or partially working features, you're breaking a core Scrum principle. Stakeholders stop believing in your team's ability to deliver. They lose confidence in the process. Projects get questioned, budgets get cut, and teams get disbanded. Here's how these mistakes create a cycle that guarantees failure. Undefined done leads to extended sprints, which erode the sprint goal, killing transparency and cross-functionality, so you never ship a proper increment. Your team gets caught in a downward spiral. Morale drops because nothing ever feels truly finished. Quality suffers because standards are unclear. Stakeholders become frustrated because they can't see real progress. The project timeline stretches, and eventually someone decides to start over with a different team or approach. This cycle destroys teams that could have been successful. The talent was there. The resources were available. The product had potential. But these 6 forbidden practices turn potential success into guaranteed failure. What most teams don't realize is just how much these violations actually cost them. Teams regularly discover sprints slipping into overtime and budgets ballooning when they break these rules. Your 1-month sprint becomes 2 months. Your planned budget grows by thousands. But here's the good news. Fixing these forbidden practices can turn your failing team into high performers within just a few sprints. Start by auditing your current sprints against these 6 forbidden practices. Open your last sprint backlog and check, is the definition of done crystal clear? Pick one mistake your team makes most often. Focus on fixing that single issue before moving to the next one. Think of it like debugging code. You fix one error at a time. The difference between Scrum success and failure isn't talent or resources. It's simply following rules that most teams unknowingly break every day. If this helped you spot a broken Scrum practice, subscribe for more expert-driven tips to sharpen your agile execution.